The Book of Revelation. A book shrouded in mystery. It speaks of a time of great tribulation, a time of judgment. Within its pages we encounter the four horsemen of the apocalypse, harbingers of chaos and destruction. These horsemen represent powerful forces that will shake the very foundations of our world. The first horseman, riding a white horse, symbolizes conquest and false peace. He comes disguised as a bringer of unity, but his true intentions are far more sinister. The second horseman, upon a fiery red horse, signifies war and bloodshed. He unleashes conflict and division, turning nations against each other. But it is the third and fourth horsemen that hold particular relevance for us today. The black horse of economic hardship and the green horse of death and famine. These two horsemen, intertwined in their impact, paint a stark picture of the challenges we face in the modern world. The third horseman rides a black horse, a symbol of famine and economic turmoil. In his hand he holds a pair of scales, representing the imbalance and injustice that will grip the world. The black horse represents economic hardship, a time when the cost of living skyrockets, and people struggle to afford even the most basic necessities. This horse speaks of inflation, unemployment, and the collapse of financial systems. We see this reflected in our own time, with rising inflation, soaring debt levels, and growing economic inequality. The black horse is a stark reminder that our material wealth is fleeting and that true security lies in something far greater. The rider of the black horse does not bring these hardships out of nowhere. He is a symbol of the greed, corruption, and short-sightedness of humankind. Our own actions, driven by selfishness and a disregard for the well-being of others, pave the way for his arrival. One of the most alarming manifestations of the black horse's ride is the global oil crisis. Oil, the lifeblood of modern economies, has become a tool of manipulation and control. Prices have skyrocketed, driving up the cost of transportation, food production, and countless other essential goods and services. This crisis is not merely a matter of supply and demand, it is a symptom of a deeper sickness, a greed that seeks to profit from the suffering of others. Powerful interests are manipulating the oil markets, hoarding resources and driving prices ever higher. The impact of this crisis is felt most acutely by the poorest and most vulnerable among us. Families are forced to choose between putting food on the table and heating their homes. Businesses are shuttered and livelihoods are destroyed. The black horse's ride leaves a trail of devastation in its wake. Following closely behind the black horse comes the fourth horseman, riding a pale green horse. His name is Death, and he is accompanied by Hades, signifying the grave. This horse represents not just physical death, but also the death of our environment, our resources, and our way of life. The green horse is often misinterpreted as a symbol of environmentalism, but this is a dangerous deception. While environmental stewardship is crucial, the green horse represents something far more sinister. The use of environmental policies to control, manipulate, and ultimately harm humanity. This horseman represents the false promise of a utopian future achieved through radical measures that ultimately undermine our freedom and well-being. We must be wary of those who claim to hold all the answers, who offer simplistic solutions to complex problems. Section 5. Food shortages, the green horse's bitter harvest. The green horse's arrival is heralded by widespread food shortages. Fields lie fallow, grocery store shelves are bare, and hunger stalks the land. This crisis is not a natural disaster, but a man-made catastrophe. It is the result of misguided policies, environmental mismanagement, and the relentless pursuit of profit over people. Farmers, the backbone of our food supply, are being squeezed out of existence by soaring costs and burdensome regulations. Genetically modified crops, touted as the solution to world hunger, have instead led to monocultures, soil degradation, and a dependence on a handful of powerful corporations. The green horse's famine is not simply a lack of food, it is a weaponization of hunger. It is a means of control, a way to subjugate entire populations and force them to comply with the dictates of a powerful elite. It is a stark reminder of the fragility of our food systems and the importance of self-sufficiency and resilience. Section 6, Modern Parallels, Ghana and Sri Lanka's green warnings. The consequences of the green horse's ride are not merely hypothetical. We are already witnessing its devastating effects in countries around the world. Ghana, once a beacon of economic growth and stability in Africa, has been brought to its knees by its embrace of green energy policies. Lured by the promise of international aid and a greener future, Ghana invested heavily in renewable energy projects. However, these projects have proven to be unreliable and expensive, leading to rolling blackouts, water shortages, and economic collapse. Sri Lanka too has fallen victim to the green agenda. The government's decision to ban chemical fertilizers in the name of promoting organic farming led to catastrophic crop failures, food shortages, and widespread social unrest. These examples serve as stark warnings of the dangers of pursuing ideological purity over practicality and common sense. Section 7, Architects of Change. The World Economic Forum and the Green Agenda. Who are the driving forces behind these destructive policies? One organization that has come under increasing scrutiny is the World Economic Forum, or WEF. This group of global elites, meeting annually in Davos, Switzerland, has become synonymous with the push for a Great Reset, a radical transformation of society along environmental and social justice lines. The WEF's agenda, outlined in books and articles by its founder, Klaus Schwab, calls for a shift away from individual liberty and free markets towards a more centralized and controlled system. This system, they argue, is necessary to address global challenges such as climate change and inequality. However, critics argue that the WEF's true agenda is to consolidate power and wealth in the hands of a select few. They point to the organization's close ties to governments, corporations, and media outlets as evidence of its far-reaching influence. Whether or not one agrees with this assessment, there is no doubt that the WEF is a powerful force shaping the world around us. Section 8. The Relevance of Revelation, a Call to Awareness. The prophecies of Revelation are not meant to scare us, but to awaken us. They are a call to action, urging us to examine our own hearts, our priorities, and our role in the unfolding drama of human history. We must not dismiss these warnings as the ravings of madmen or the fantasies of religious zealots. The black and green horses are not merely symbolic representations of future events. They are reflections of our present reality. We see their influence in the economic turmoil that grips our world, in the environmental degradation that threatens our planet, and in the social unrest that divides our communities. We must not despair, however. Just as the book of Revelation reveals the darkness that threatens to engulf us, it also offers a message of hope and redemption. It reminds us that even in the midst of tribulation, God is with us, offering comfort, guidance, and ultimately victory. Section 9, Finding Hope, Navigating the Path Ahead. So, what can we do in the face of these challenges? First and foremost, we must educate ourselves. We must learn to discern truth from falsehood, to see through the propaganda and manipulation that surrounds us. We must seek out reliable sources of information and be willing to question the narratives that are being foisted upon us. Second, we must become more self-sufficient. We must learn to grow our own food, conserve our resources, and reduce our dependence on a system that is increasingly fragile and unreliable. We must rediscover the lost arts of homemaking, gardening, and community building. Finally, and most importantly, we must strengthen our faith. We must turn to God, the source of all hope and strength. We must pray for wisdom, guidance, and protection. We must remember that we are not alone in this struggle and that ultimately good will triumph over evil.